So I'm not going to stand up here and tell you to give 10% of your income to the church. But I'm going to ask you to give 5%. And here's why. Is it because All Souls is the bargain basement of congregations? It's the Sam's Club of religion? Is it because I think that you're too stingy? More stingy than the Baptists? No, absolutely not. First of all, I believe that you are as generous as any people there are on this earth, if not more. And if you're not, I certainly think it's something to aspire to. There's nothing worse than going to your grave feeling like you lived a miserly life. I'll tell you, back in biblical times, right, the church, that was the only place where philanthropy and charity was done. It was the only institution. They didn't have a nonprofit sector. They had no family and children services, no day center for the homeless. They had no Meals on Wheels, no Blue Star Mothers, no Department of Veterans Affairs. So all of the money, all of the charity, all the philanthropy was filtered through the churches and the other religious organizations. And that's how the community was helped. But it's different now. That work is spread out through many institutions. And we should support all the good ones and help as many as we possibly can. So what my wife and I do, and what Tamara and Deborah Garfinkel and our ministers and most of our lay leaders and staff, we give 5% of our annual income each year to the church, and then we try to give at least 5% more to other causes that are important to us. So we aim to give away at least 10% a year. Not because it's in the Bible and the Torah and the Quran. Not because we believe that God will find favor on us if we do. But because we believe that's how we create the kind of world that we want to live in. The kind of world that we want to pass on to our children and our grandchildren. It's how we believe we can grow children's souls. It's how we try to make this world, take care of this world, and create a commonwealth of heaven right here. Now here's the future of All Souls that I imagine. There's not a single part of it that's going to be easy, but I know that together we can do it. I imagine a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-generational, and maybe someday multilingual church that expresses and celebrates the same core values that we've been talking about in a multitude of ways. One church, many expressions. I see a faith community where our children are nurtured, our youth inspired, our seniors cherished. Where movers and shakers in this community worship and receive spiritual sustenance and inspiration along with movers and bakers and furniture makers and leaf rakers. One church, many expressions. I see room for all souls to grow. My soul, your soul. I see a haven and a launching pad. I see a church where we cherish tradition and we prepare for the future in ways that create a beloved community, a true beloved community that we may never see, but our children and our children's children might, if we do our part. Now, it might mean that we'll do some things and we'll fail, as well as some things that may change the world. The next few years at All Souls are going to be the most challenging and the most fun, the most love-filled and meaningful and most valuable years of our collective lives together so far. Now, in order to make this work, we're going to change our way of fundraising. Our culture of giving is going to change. Now, I need you to listen carefully to this part. So if somebody sitting next to you has fallen asleep, wake them up, because this is the part that I want them to hear. We're going to stop asking you to recommit your pledge to the church every year. Did you hear that? We're going to stop asking you to recommit your pledge to the church every year. Would you turn to someone who's sitting next to you? I got to make sure you get this. And say, we're going to stop asking you to recommit your pledge every single year. Now, instead of asking you for a pledge commitment each year, year in and year out, and every year, can you sign the card and send you 10 mailings and try to lasso you as you're going out the door and, barricade the doors of the sanctuary and try to say, can you make your pledge? Will you do something to help us support the church? We really need some more crayons in the Sunday school. And going through that whole pitch, year in and year out, we're asking you to make a pledge for 2010 on a pledge card, which will be out in the foyer when you leave. They've got all these pledge cards out there. Pick one up, fill it out. We hope you'll get it back today or next week. But get it back soon, before November, because what we do, for those who are new to the church, and say, why are you doing this now for 2010? The reason is that we want to set a budget that the congregation is going to vote on in December, early December at our congregational meeting. So we need to know how much money we can expect that's going to come into the church. And since we give away the plate collection, that's how we do it. People say, I'm going to give X amount, what they feel like they can do in the coming year, and this now is going to be your perpetual pledge until you need to change it. And you call the office or you talk to one of us and say, hey, I can't do that as much, or I just got a raise and I want to give a little bit more. Whatever you decide to do, you can let us know anytime, but unless you let us know, we're going to consider that your pledge to the church. And each year we'll find a small group of people who will ask to increase their pledge. And that's how we're going to do it from now on, so I hope you'll help us and do your part. Give 5% of your income. I hope you'll join us and do that, because I want to tell you, I pay attention. I read the newspapers, and I've seen it. There are some people in this church, some of you, who give more money to arts organizations and alma maters and political campaigns than you give to the church. Now, none of them are going to marry you or bury you or counsel you or console you or rush to your side in times of trouble 24 hours a day, 365 days a year on call for your emergencies. Much less comfort and afflict you, like I try to do from up here. So that has to be worth a lot. So I hope that you'll do your part. I know you'll do your part, and I really appreciate everything that you do. Has your soul grown since you've been a part of All Souls? Help us make this a strong church, a beautiful church, a blessing. Not a tower to nowhere, but a cathedral to God and the human spirit. A workshop of our common endeavor. A springboard for our hopes and dreams. God bless you. I love you, and thank you for allowing me the privilege to be your minister. Amen.